He puts the team on his back for sure in critical moments. He finds a way to come through in the clutch, and obviously, he's got all the attributes. But one thing that I picked up on is obviously his toughness. How he's able to lead his team to victory. And one thing that we got to eliminate is, his second chance opportunities. He thrives off that, finding opportunities even if the play is not there. So, he's a great player. So we got a game plan and, eliminate the explosives from him.
That's Patrick Surtain talking about Josh Allen. And if you go through Broncos lore and history, the 2018 draft was as huge and as big of a mistake as was ever made in Broncos history. John Elway has admitted it was a mistake on a variety of platforms. And now we have this amazing moment where somewhat of a hometown son in Josh Allen, who went to the University of Wyoming, comes to take on Bo Nix. And I do have my Bo Leave hat on. But for me personally, this is one of the biggest conflicts as somebody who has covered sports for 38 years. It's DMac SMaK, and I'll tell you why just here in a second. But it's important to know that we're brought to you by our great friends at Journey Spice. I love Journey Spice. We put Journey Spice on literally everything. And if you want some delicious Journey Spice in your life, just go to Amazon.com. That's Amazon.com and use the code 2026 playoffs. Whatever you're using, it tastes better with Journey Spice. A wide range of meals. And if you want a little kick, maybe that KC barbecue will do the trick for you. Throw it on there. If you want something to go with, I don't know, pizza seasoning on a meatball sandwich would taste great. The Zatar on avocado mini toast. I mean, what do you need? Savory garlic herb on the Tuscan pizza. The Moroccan spice takes care of business on the Moroccan stew. It's no better place to go to make your food taste better than Journey Spice. And that's the QR code right there. More on Journey Spice here in a second. In growing up and going to school at Syracuse, to go to Buffalo was a huge step up in my life professionally. To go to a city that had a pro hockey team and most importantly an NFL team was gargantuan coming from a college town like Syracuse. I love going to Buffalo. I got engaged in Buffalo and married when I was in Buffalo. We didn't have kids there, but we stayed there on Dingus Day in 1993. That's when women attack men with pussy willows. It's Polish tradition. And I was there until the spring of 1999. And during that time, especially my first year, was the last year the Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl. And it was magical. And I got to know all those guys. Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Kent Hull, Adam Lingner, the long snapper, Steve Christie, not really Scott Norwood. He was already gone by that point. But the Andre Reed, all those cats, Cornelius Bennett, Darryl Talley, all those guys. That was my first experience covering the NFL was that crew. And it was amazing. And although they didn't have as much success as they had the first year I was there going to the Super Bowl, there were other playoff appearances, and I was there until Jim Kelly retired. We did the Jim Kelly show on 97 Rock. And my wife, on our honeymoon, went on The Price is Right. She won 2 snowmobiles, a vacuum cleaner, and a couch. We kept the couch for like 30 years. Vacuum cleaner, we got rid of that green machine in a yard sale. And Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills bought my 2 snowmobiles. True story. That happened. So my memories and love of Buffalo are huge. We were in our mid-20s. I was covering sports for the first time, like on a big-time sort of level. We had all sorts of friends who didn't have kids either. We would drink beer and eat wings, very Buffalonian sort of thing to do while going to Sabres and Bills games, and had a blast. So I would tell anybody if you're bored in Buffalo, well, that's your fault. I can even point out exactly where I lived there in Buffalo. So if we go to a map of Buffalo, where you see that, 75 Mariner Street, that's where I live compared to downtown Buffalo. Believe it or not, it's called Allentown. So that red dot is where I lived in the heart of Allentown. This is way before Josh Allen. This is my home at 75 Mariner Street. That's the outside of it. I lived there, and so did Mark Stout. And if we just want to go through Zillow, you can see sort of the different rooms and the different. That's my house. That's where my wife and I sort of made our bones as a young couple, a young married couple in Buffalo, New York. That was my parking spot, and I cleared out my parking spot one time to have the band McCarthyism play a party. There was a party right there, and the drummer was late, so I played drums a little bit right in that spot, and that's my back porch as well. So my memories of Buffalo are fabulous, and this area right here, Allentown, was like a nightlife district. So if you were just to go out the street, you'd be at bars and restaurants and all sorts of stuff. So, and you can see in downtown Buffalo, look how close we were. I mean, that's like, 2 miles from the heart of downtown Buffalo. Now, the Bills play in Orchard Park, nowhere close to downtown Buffalo. It's like Highlands Ranches to Denver, that sort of thing. But for me and my time there, we absolutely loved it. We absolutely loved it. So nothing but great feelings about Buffalo. And we ended up remaining Buffalo Bills fans until Wade Phillips benched Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson in the Music City Miracle. I walked out of a bar in Denver saying, well, that's it, forget him, because I had moved to Denver at that point, and I was so pissed off and such a big Doug Flutie fan, I just couldn't believe what had happened. The Bills didn't make the playoffs for 17 years. Now, if you want to fast forward a ton, we come to the 2018 NFL draft. And at this point, I'd been living in Colorado since 1999 and had covered the Broncos all those years. And we knew about Josh Allen. We had been to his pro day. John Elway didn't go, but I was there. We were at the library doing a live radio show when Josh Allen and Jordan Palmer, his quarterback coach, his mom and dad, I believe his sister. There's a table of like 8 people. And they just ended up at that same place. So the eyes of the world were on them. And then for whatever reason, they ended up at the library eating chicken fingers. And it's one of my greatest regrets. As we were broadcasting like 10 feet away from them, talking about him, it was surreal that I just didn't go and pay his bill. I should have. I didn't. What can you do? But I just wanted to use that moment to say, Josh, I hope you become a Denver Bronco. And I could have picked up his tab and it would have been legendary. That was an omen, because I didn't do it, that this was probably going to happen.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State.
I was at Stoney's on Lincoln with like 300 people screaming Chubb, Chubb, Chubb into my face. And I said at the second it happened, that's a mistake. It was a loaded draft. It was unbelievable. And you kind of couldn't go wrong. I mean, unless you got Josh Rosen, I suppose. But at that moment, at pick number 5, with Darnold and Mayfield already off the board, and it was Rosen, Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And to me, because Darnold and Mayfield were gone, it was down to 3 guys. I was pounding the table, literally pounding the table for Josh Allen.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State.
Oh, my God. I said it was a mistake then, and it was a mistake. Look what happened to the Broncos after that. Just the absolute pit of misery. And a lot of people have assumed incompetence syndrome, and that means you assume the same result will happen, even though the circumstances are wildly different. They're like, oh, they didn't have the right coaching staff for Josh Allen. Oh, he wouldn't have developed. Of course he would have. The guy's a superstar. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The question is his legacy going to include a Super Bowl championship? So at that bar, well, people seem to be really excited about Bradley Chubb, and the Broncos didn't have a quarterback at the time. The Buffalo Bills stepped up and did what made legendary history.
With the 7th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming.
Well, maybe a little longer wait than Josh Allen expected, but the man who once had to send out 1,000 emails to head coaches, offensive coordinators, and quarterback coaches just to say, take a look at my tape, got 2 offers, one from Wyoming. He went to everybody, Nick Saban, you name it. They all said no. Now, in the 7th overall pick in the draft, those 1,000 emails are indeed paying off as Josh Allen is the new quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. And
wow, that is wild to watch and somewhat painful. But that Bradley Chubb pick did become Sean Payton. Sean Payton knew the value of a quarterback and has Bo Nix. Bo Nix in his second year will now face off against Josh Allen, who's 8-6 in the playoffs and has set some crazy records in terms of playoff accomplishments, except he hasn't made the Super Bowl. And there is an element, if you don't win the Super Bowl with Josh Allen this year, when exactly is it going to happen? Has time passed? And there's a new generation of quarterbacks, Drake May, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, that has taken over from the 2018 class, from the 2024 class. Maybe. But here in Denver, the question of what ifs will loom large over our heads forever because of that 2018 draft. And we get to see it on display. Now, it's going to make Broncos fans feel a whole heck of a lot better if Bo Nix and company as a number 1 seed can beat the quarterback they should have taken in 2018. That's the drama. And my conflict is as real as anything because I've done nothing but pull for the Bills and Josh Allen. I've suffered through the heartbreak that they have. It was easy because the Broncos were garbage for the vast majority of that time, up until the past couple of years. And I'll be pulling for the Broncos. At the end of the day, I've lived in Colorado for 27 years, a lot longer than I lived in Buffalo, which was, 6? So, yeah, it's not a little longer. It's a lot longer. I've gone to many more Broncos games. I've seen the Broncos win a Super Bowl. I know so many of the athletes and coaches and the fans. It's not even comparable in terms of where my true heart lies, and that's with the Denver Broncos. But there's always part of you, especially when you're young, when you fall in love for the first time. And to fall in love with a city, I did. I fell in love with Buffalo, man. And I have nothing but good things to say about it. And the rubber meets the road in terms of fandom between the Broncos past and their present. And for that, I'm all on board. And if I need any other ammo to feel like, well, okay, I guess I can root against Josh Allen. I mean, he is from Wyoming.
God bless, go Pokes, and it will always suck to be a CSU Ram.